What's up, YouTube? I will be with you shortly. In the meantime, let me do this. Let me go live with the old Ferg box score here, just in case you're not familiar with the stats. You can keep up with it. I don't think anybody's joining us tonight, YouTube. I think it's just going to be just us chickens. This has got to be the most boring part if you tune into YouTube, especially if you turn to YouTube early. Where it's Ben sitting here by himself, just trying to blast out on the socials. All right, if anybody's coming, they'd be here. So we're just going to get into it. All right, Tiger fans, we are back after a 1 point loss, the first of the season, the first of the Stephen Pearl era, to number one Houston in Birmingham, 73-72. And man, if you didn't get to watch this one, if you were stuck listening to the radio broadcast the way that I was, this was one of the most exciting games of the year, for sure. I mean, we saw Auburn lose its very first exhibition game, a game in which we had a ton of players play a ton of weird, strange rotations while Stephen Pearl's trying to figure out what he's got. We played through three mid-major non-conference games, all at home, all where Auburn scores 90 plus points. So it was sort of hard to really get a sense of what Stephen Pearl had in this Auburn roster. We're only bringing back Tahad Pettiford from last year's team. We got a whole bunch of new faces. It's not easy to figure a team like that out, but we learned a ton about this team in Houston, despite the loss, and despite God, we really had a shot at it at the end there. It was so close. But wait a minute. Whose music do I hear in the corner? Is that Jackson Danger Garrett?
I'm here. I'm here. War Eagle. It was a great game. I mean, to
Yeah, War Eagle, man. What'd you think?
take the number one team to 1 point was exhilarating. I think everybody has like lower expectations this year. It's a full team refit. And we don't know for sure if Houston's the number one team either. I mean, we won't know anything about these college basketball teams with the way they're like turning over until probably conference play, but still, Houston's always been a good team under Kelvin Sampson. And so it's cool to see us take them all the way to 1 point. A shame, like with anytime you do this, it's a shame you think all the times you like missed out on. But at the end of the day, it all came down to Ben's biggest pet peeve, free throw shooting. Holy
Yep.
crap, we got so many breaks going our way with all the foul trouble Houston was in. And we just could not make free throws to save our lives. And then we had Pettiford with three different attempts to score. They did the right thing with all the foul trouble. We were getting foul calls all night. Drive the ball. I said I was going to go down there and slash the bus tires if they didn't drive the ball. Did it 3 times, got blocked 3 times in a row, or just didn't work out 3 times in a row. And then people were going to concentrate on the like 0.9 second inbound pass foul potentially. I'm like, man, we had 3 attempts with 20 seconds left and we didn't do it. And in fact, they like started that first one. They had like 20 something seconds. We could have just waited and ran out the clock. They went for it really
Yeah.
quickly, which I thought was really interesting. And at first I was like, why did we go for it so quick? You usually want to run that clock down to like 10 or 11 seconds, then go for it so you don't leave a ton of time for your opponents to respond. Hey, after watching him go for it 3 times in a row, I was like, all right, well, he gave us 2 more attempts than we would have had. So it was the right call by Stephen Pearl. I also enjoyed that Stephen Pearl called a heat check timeout. I believe it was like late in the first or early in the second when
Twice.
Houston went on a run.
Yeah.
Loved it. It was like immediately, there was like a big 3-pointer, I believe Houston hit. Like we were down maybe two. They hit a big 3-pointer. Then they stole the ball, got an easy dunk, and he said, bam, heat check timeout. I was like, thank God. We came back. We responded. We responded over and over again tonight, which was
Yeah.
great. Or today.
We were
Like
down by at least 7 points multiple times tonight. I think at least 4 times.
I really appreciate it. I mean, just seeing the fight from this team was great. Another thing I noticed was it felt like Houston had a decent amount of open looks off of great offensive sets, passes down low, good open shots. It felt like we had a lot less of that. We were driving really well. Our players were hitting a lot of good shots. We were playing tenacious defense. But like other than free throw shooting, that was the other thing I noticed for why we couldn't take down the #1 team in Birmingham was because they had a couple open shots and we had to make a lot of hard ones. And luckily we had a lot of foul calls, so we didn't have to make them as much. But like that's something we
It's
need to work on is that we have a lot of great guards and they're making shots and it's fun to watch them drive. It's fun to watch them hit shots, but there's not a lot of great offensive sets right now where I feel like they're getting the looks they need to get.
and not a ton of, I know you just said good guard play. It's really more, if Matt were here, he would say twos and threes are the same in Bruce's offense, but they're not. The twos and threes that we have switching around this year, Elijah Freeman, Kevin Overton, and even Keyshawn Hall to a large degree, they're bang inside guys. They're not outside shooters. Now, we shot a little better from deep tonight, 33%. No, 32% we finished with 7 of 12 of 22 from the field. So not quite that perfect 33%, but not the abysmal like down in the 20s that it's been this year. I don't know if the solution is to get Simon Walker back out there. Um, we had a ton of guys that have played significant minutes, not play any minutes tonight, which in my opinion was a huge disappointment. We'll get into that. But Jackson, I know that free throws are my thing. And I know that in a game in which we shoot 64% and leave 12 points on the floor in a 1 point game, feels like the time that I should most be on free throws. But man, we got to talk about first half turnovers.
Mm.
We turned the ball over 8 times in the first half. Guess how many turnovers we finished with?
Probably like 10, right? We didn't turn over that many in the second half, right?
8.
Wow,
We
no
did not
turnovers
turn
in
the
the second
ball.
half.
We did not turn the ball over in the second half.
Wow.
We were absolutely electric on how we handled the ball. But once again, we're struggling, like you said, in the assist game. And I think this has been a trend throughout the season. We finished with 11 assists on 22 made baskets. That's just at 50%. We need to be better at getting other guys the shots. We know that guys like Keyshawn Hall and Elijah Freeman are going to be able to bang inside and get their stuff. But when Auburn is at its best, it's when the ball is moving well. And we saw some great big to big passing tonight, once again, from Sebastian William Adams and Keyshawn Murphy. Great to see Big Three back in the lineup. But we did not see Emeka Oporum at all on the floor tonight. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if that's just a strategy thing, but it feels weird to me in a game in which Blake Michalek got minutes that we didn't see Meek at all. Like there's
Speaking of
just
Blake,
no.
speaking of Blake Michelle, that's why I was looking on this roster because you were right. Only one real bench player contributed. That was CWA. I don't know how you guys are pronouncing them these days. Sebastian Williams Adams.
Yeah.
He's been putting some solid minutes. He put 26 minutes in this game. Philip Jokovic. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Jovic. He got 9 minutes. It's because these white boys could not keep up, man. Jovic got embarrassed on a couple of these plays. He was on the ground and one, and luckily they didn't make the shot, so that wouldn't be in the Sports Center top 10. Same with Blake Mushalik. Sorry, I'm pronouncing all these wrong. I'm just now learning the players, guys. I know I said I wasn't even going to do the pod much this year, but I couldn't help myself after this game. But he came in and like immediately fouled within like zero point 0.3 seconds of coming in. But the white
Yeah.
boys on this team are not keeping up. They're no Leo Bormans on this team. It's not
Yeah.
working out super well.
Michalek has sort of been the threat from Steve Pro because said, look, if you play defense, you're going to play. And he came in tonight, and for some reason, we had him guarding Emmanuel Sharp. Emmanuel Sharp, one of the few returning starters for this Houston team that played in the Final Four last year, and we were guarding him with a walk-on. And look, I know Auburn fans and Auburn family love the walk-ons. They tend to be Alabama-born kids that love Auburn and play for Auburn, and they play hard and they scout hard, and they're a crucial part of a championship team. They do not belong on the floor against elite competition. And I wish that we had had a chance to see Emeka Oporum against elite competition tonight because we watched him in the last couple of games really come alive at that 5 spot while Keyshawn Murphy gets healthier. And we didn't see him at all tonight. And Houston is a team that has a ton of size. I mean, they had a 6'10" true freshman out there hitting 3-pointers. It was nuts.
Your boy Abdul didn't see the field, the court as well. I know you're really excited about him this year, but yeah, 1 minute out of him.
Yeah,
And
he got one rotation before he was pulled back out. We got some decent minutes. I don't see it reflected here on Ferg's box score, but we got some. Oh no, there he is, Caden Magwood. Caden Magwood, we got a couple of decent rotations out of, but really, Steven leaned on his guys this game, and I think there's a reason for that. When you looked at how this game ended, Auburn was down 5 with about a minute and a half to go, and they got stop after stop after stop to end that game, including a block by Tahad Pettiford. Now I know I've been a Tahad Pettiford
hey,
critic.
he's been doing all right with those. He's been
Yeah,
getting a couple of those.
I think he's up to averaging a block a game now. And I know I've been kind of tough on him because we need him to be a better scorer and a more efficient scorer if this team's going to hit its ceiling. But Tahad's defense this year is head and shoulders above where it was last season. And that showed up tonight in an elite guard matchup. Now, granted, their guards got points, but a lot of that came in those switches, like you were talking about, those set plays, working around screens. So that's not all on Pettiford's solo guarding ability. And when we needed him to step up, especially at the end of that game, he stepped up defensively in a big way. What we're
He's the only
missing,
he's the only one that got blocks this game, two
yeah,
blocks, and he also got 2 steals, and he's the only guy that got blocks on this team. It's kind of crazy. I know we don't have like any big centers on this team, but still.
yeah. I think Keyshawn Murphy's health is going to continue to be something to watch. We played him 31 minutes tonight, which feels like a lot for a guy that's still out there running around in a bulky knee brace. But you know what, Jackson? I think I'm going to give it to you because we played so well in that second half, even though the first half was bad. We were only down 4 at the break, which if you had sold that to me before the game tipped, I would have absolutely bought it. And let's make free throws our key stat here in the loss because you just can't leave 12 points on the board when you lose a game by one, especially elite competition,
Especially when we had
especially
that foul
Houston.
especially when we had that foul discrepancy. We were just
Yeah,
constantly missing. I don't remember how many 1-and-1s we missed, but it felt like a decent amount. And it super hurt when you like it felt like we were given this golden opportunity in a tight game to really like make them suffer. And we did do at least well on getting it like a player there or two fouled out like
yep.
quickly. Like as soon as we had an opportunity to go after someone and get them a fifth foul, we did. I think at like maybe the 6 minute mark or 8 minute mark, took out their one of their leading scorers, which was great. I mean, one thing I'm most concerned about, Keyshawn Hall goes down with like an ugly ankle injury. We don't know if like how ugly it is. He was really writhing around out there, like grabbing onto the core. He looked like in a ton of pain. I texted the gang, is he a drama queen or is this legit? We couldn't tell that we've had some players in the past years that look like maybe that their body had been snapped in half and then they're on the court like in the next possession.
Shout out Janai
Keyshawn
Broom.
Hall, we got lucky with like a timeout with Keyshawn Hall there between free throws. We really need him. Hit the free throws. I think he missed the first one, hit the second one, luckily, so he could get subbed out, but we didn't see him in the game again in the last like 4 minutes. We really needed him. Absolutely would have had the ball in his hands on that last possession and would have collected a free throw for sure or finished either one. And Pettiford just couldn't get it done on that. It feels like that's like the two guys we were trying to rely on. Pettiford's he's better this game, 15 points, 3 of 8 from three, which is okay. 5 of 14 from the field. Like I said, we were happy with this defense, but like I don't know, I've been a little disappointed. I mean, the announcer called him awful. The announcer said the
Ooh,
first couple of games were awful. I was like really surprised the announcer was being that on the nose with Pettiford's performance, especially. I don't know. I guess maybe I haven't paying enough attention to know for sure he was awful. But this game
well,
he's played
again,
better. It's just not been super reliable.
when you think about Pettiford, and especially when you think about Pettiford in context of last season, before we had film on him to watch, Who do you think of? The kid that comes in and hits a big shot, the kid that goes down the floor against Alabama completely fearless with none of his teammates across midcourt and just buries a three-pointer. And Tahad's shooting has been abysmal this year. I'm going to pull up his stats so we can see just what he's like shooting for the season. But again, he was 2 of 6 at one point and only finished 3 of 8. So he had some opportunities late to make those big shots. And like you were talking about, he cut to the cup twice in that overtime period and simply could not buy a bucket. I mean, he got blocked, I think, on both of those shots, which is another one of those things that we saw a ton last season. But let me see
Yeah.
if I can find Tahad Pettiford's shooting percentage for this season. Let's see where he's at right now. He's shooting 27% from the floor, 71% from the free throw line, and 17% from three. So
No, 17%.
17% from three.
Wow. Holy
And here's
crap.
the thing, man. He shot 8 tonight. That's been his MO. He's been shooting between like 5 and 9
He just
three-pointers every single game, and it's been
he was
inefficient.
part. I mean, they showed some highlights of last year's team during this and made me cry to see how good they were last year, to see the passing they were made, the offensive sets they were running, seeing Broom throw the dunk down. But Pettiford was like the fourth or fifth guy you had to worry about. So he had plenty of room out there to make some plays. And like every time he went off, we were like happy about it. They teams had to choose their poison last year. And now they don't really have to choose their poison quite as much. And so now he's getting a lot more attention. He's getting their second best guard, probably to guard him. It's just it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for him this year. And he's gonna have to adapt to that. I think he can. I think he's got the skill set. I think he's got the athleticism. I think maybe this early season he's just gonna have to figure it out a bit. Maybe he'll have to he's gotta score. I was gonna say maybe he can concentrate on like distributing the ball a little bit and waiting
Well,
for a shot to come to him. But who else is gonna be the second scoring option if it's not him?
so you're right about a couple of things. In our best looking games this early season, Todd Pettiford has had at least 5 assists. So he's been getting other guys involved and getting other guys their shots. And I think that's the Todd Pettiford that we really want to rely on going forward. We've seen Kevin Overton hit some big time threes. It seems like Caden Magwood is finding his shot from deep. He's been a little bit more consistent. He's not a volume shooter. So I don't know if that's something we can ask of him. We're going to find out what Simon Walker looks like. Obviously, I think Abdul Bashir was hurt in the offseason. I don't know how much longer it's going to take or even how much leash he still has to adjust to the speed of this game this year to see serious rotation times and actually get
Hey,
the
this might be the
chance to put up
biggest
some
year,
shots.
especially for our team personally, but for most teams in college basketball. We're going to see some really streaky teams. We're going to see some teams that had it together early before other teams had it together and then fall off once people figure it out a little bit. But even more so, there's just a lot of teams that are figuring things out in the offseason that you just have an injury or two like this, and your complete team is completely different by halfway through conference play. So
Mm-hmm.
just make it to the tournament, guys. Just win enough game to make it to the tournament. We will. They might be. If you're a sports gambler, this might be the most chaotic March Madness we ever see, because I think you really are going to see teams not figure it out until pretty late in conference play.
And the nice thing about this game was the second half adjustments, particularly the defensive second half adjustments. I mean, we were getting bullied on the glass. We were turning the ball over too much. We were getting abused inside in the paint. And we really closed those numbers down in the second half. We only lost total rebounds by 3, but we tied them on the offensive glass, which is huge. We managed to get past them. They had 11 second chance points. We had 13. We did get 10 points from our bench, whereas they only got 5. But again, like you're talking about, we get some black holes there in our starting 5. And gosh, man, Jovic has been one of the most confusing players because he looks like he belongs on that court, but then the second the ball gets in his hands, he's got no touch.
He didn't
He's
look
got
like he belonged today. I tell you what,
I
9 minutes out there, 2 turnovers in 9 minutes, 2 rebounds. Like it just was not, and it just was getting roasted on defense. At least a couple times I noticed him.
I mean, I can believe it. I didn't get to hear that
I feel
part of
like
the
he's
radio
got.
call,
I
but
feel. I feel like that's got to be a big part of like why you're seeing these limited minutes. I don't think they went into the game assuming they were going to play Jovic 9 minutes, but it felt like down the stretch he was just out because he was getting embarrassed out there. So maybe some people maybe some people that were watching a little harder than me. And sorry, like this year I'm not going to be the most astute with my hot takes. I'm just not going to be able to pay attention as much this year. But I still wanted to hop on. Come on, we had one point game against the number one team, so I couldn't help myself. But that's gonna be it for me because I'm gonna start getting into dangerous territory and saying stupid stuff because I don't know what I'm talking about honestly,
no,
and
not
maybe
at
I won't for
all.
a while. So
Jackson knows plenty of what he's talking about. And honestly, I'm fine with having this be a short podcast tonight, especially for folks that, listen to us in the car or on the radio or whatever. There's not a ton to take away from this game. We had a really good second half. We have to figure out if Keyshawn Hall is healthy. And we're going to have to find what Todd Pettiford's role on this team offensively needs to be because it looks like we can't rely on him to be a scorer. I mean, he had 15 points tonight, but he took 14 shots. That's not the kind of efficiency we need. And we had nobody with more than 3 assists. And Keyshawn Murphy actually led us in assists tonight. The big man, some of that big to big passing we had going on.
Well, we look to put
So,
things in perspective on this podcast. At least we have in the past. It's weird to move into this new era of Stephen Pearl and like what we are as a program after this. But we're playing the number one team in the nation in
yep,
Birmingham
yep.
as a ranked team. That's super fun. Like I know, like I'm probably like amongst our group the most down on this out of conference this part of the schedule just because college basketball has changed so much and having your team change over like that so much. Like I just don't know what we're going to learn. I mean, we might look back at this time later and be like, oh, we probably saw signs of it here or there, but I really don't think we're going to be able to make any legitimate calls until early conference play on like what's going on. And I'm sure the coaches are learning a lot every time, but also when you're playing other teams that they're also not sure what they have, it gets really tough to figure things out. But it's still cool to play number one teams and for people to like respect that we should be playing number one teams. Of course, the number one team scheduled Auburn. Of course, they would play in Birmingham. That's cool. I'm sure the people that got to watch Auburn in Birmingham, like people that live in Birmingham, I bet this was an awesome day. I'm sure they're a little upset they didn't pull off the win, but man, like I don't think people expected that, and I think they got their money's worth for sure. So I think it's just like cool that we're here. Just like enjoy this out of conference. We've got a couple more big games as well. We've got a cool tournament coming up. It's just fun to have Auburn basketball be good for this long and have this
Mm-hmm.
much extra entertainment in our lives.
And remember, going into this game, I think a lot of us here in the media sphere didn't really know what we had in this Auburn team. Like, are they actually going to be any good? Are they paper tigers? How are they going to deal with conference play? And I think tonight shows you that they can pretty much go to toe with anyone in the nation. I think that they are good enough to win the conference, maybe 14 or 15 games. We'll see if the health holds up. We did flag that for you in the beginning, especially with the way that Keyshawn Hall plays. If Keyshawn Hall is going to miss the Players Era tournament, I have no idea what the season turns into for us. But
I can't tell if I love playing Houston or hate playing Houston. It's a very unique thing. They're like a hyper version of what Bruce Pearl does to it, the really hard defense. I hope that that system, I have a feeling Kelvin Sampson might be retiring, like maybe at the end of this season or the next or something. I don't know how you convince NIL one-time transfer players to play with the tenacity you need for his system. Same with Bruce to a certain extent, but like this is slightly different. But like, it's just cool to see that style of basketball. It's fun to watch the chaos. It felt like a March game with the intensity that was brought during it, which you don't get in a lot of these out of conference games typically. So I have fun watching these games. I hope we don't have to play them again in a serious game like in the March Madness. I don't want to come up against them. They're so hard to beat. But at a conference, it's pretty fun to play this style. I
absolutely.
wouldn't
And
mind
it's
that being
pretty
like a
fun.
yearly thing.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to have this as a marquee matchup for sure. Well, Jackson, the Auburn Tigers are taking a little tiny break before they get to the Players Era tournament out in Las Vegas. They got Jackson State at home. Are you going to come back and join us on the podcast for your alma mater?
I don't think I'll make Jackson State, fellas.
Well,
uh,
Jackson, thanks for hopping in. We'll do a little
I'll
sign up
tell you
here.
one last thing. The one shame of this one is no shame in losing to number one Houston. The only shame, if you're a Redditor like I am, we are going to be off the undefeated college basketball team map. Every year they do this fun like imperial style map where undefeated teams stay on it and take more and more territory. Back in like 2018, 19, I believe, right, the one that got canceled for COVID, they went undefeated and had a conference. It was like them and San Diego State. I think San Diego State ended up going undefeated all year, maybe, but like got to like take all the territory. So it's just a shame that we missed out on that. But I'll trade it for these good games.
It was a pretty good one. All right, Jackson, thanks for joining us. War Eagle, buddy.
War Eagle.
All right. Say bye to
So
YouTube, Jackson.
see you, YouTube.
I didn't go to the chat. I got to see if there's anything in here. YouTube,
I
I'm going
looked
to.
for a second. I don't see anything. But I mean, on the live chat actually.
Oh, no chat tonight. There were 5 people watching, though.
Oh, we came on late.
Yeah. Man, fucking
Is YouTube